Jesus' best friend. Now that's a challenge. The reason why I say it's a challenge, I guess I don't really think of Lazarus before the resurrection. I'm thinking of, and this is going to be the acting challenge coming up, is who is Lazarus after the resurrection? What is the difference in the man before and after? What did he see? What did he see in those 4 days? How has that affected his life? In that moment, he knows more than anybody. He knows more than the apostles at that point about who Jesus is.
Welcome to Talking Back with Tera and Barb. I'm Tera.
And I'm Barb. And we are so excited today to be chatting with Jesus's best friend, Laz.
Demetrios, welcome.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
Oh, yeah. It was great connecting with you and great to finally meet up.
My father's side of the family lives in Greece and Australia.
Okay.
And so I lived there when I was 9, and I lived there when I was 23.
In Greece or Australia?
In New Zealand.
In New Zealand.
Wow.
You lived in New Zealand when you were 9 and 23. Which island?
North Island, but I backpacked the Southern Island on my own.
That is so great.
Yeah. And yeah, my father he had been given up for adoption in Greece in the 50s and was raised with a family here in Chicago, and actually the city I live in right now. And then about 25, maybe 30 years ago, he found his biological mother in New Zealand. My mother had this export-import documentation business. So if you wanted to send a box of socks to Riyadh, she could do all the paperwork and everything like that, Notary Republic. And then my father had a courier service attached to that. This was after we had a restaurant as well. Yeah, all over the place. And so I would go down to the consulates with him as a young kid. And, he'd be racing back and forth on the I-90, getting downtown to deliver some documents. And he decided to go into the Romanian consulate and speak to this woman, Vula. And I remember she was not a nice person, but she ended up she just lit up when my dad asked her about finding his mother. And she gave him a number to a man in the U.S. Army who happened to be Greek, and his job was to find missing people. Wow. And he said, "Give me 2 weeks." So after 2 weeks, we met at this restaurant called the Sisteria, which is a great Greek restaurant. I should get paid for a plug. And we sat across and had dinner, and he gave my father a number on a piece of paper for Wellington, New Zealand. And that was where his biological mother was living. And, he called her up, and, she said in Greek, "I never gave you a thimble of water. Why would you want me?" And he ended up going there for a little bit. We almost moved there as a family. But we were so established with, our friends and family over here. It wasn't the right move. And I'm glad we didn't. So, yeah. So I have this whole family in New Zealand.
Wow.
That is incredible.
And what great work for that gentleman to track down family in New Zealand, and in 2 weeks. He definitely had all the resources, didn't he?
Well, my dad's story is finding his mother is pretty harrowing. Like my uncle Jim, which is my mother's brother, had gone to Europe for 3 years. We didn't want him to. He was going to play AAA ball, amazing baseball player, but he decided he wanted to go to Europe and travel for years. I mean, he was in Egypt and all these places. And he had gone to the Romanian consulate. And this was when Ceausescu was in power. So this was a month before he was overthrown.
Oh, wow.
And
So
he found the only picture. I'm sorry?
maybe
89?
88, 89, 89.
89.
Yes.
And so he got the only surviving picture of my biological grandmother that my father ever had. And he had probably, I probably shouldn't say this or record it, but he had taken out the picture from the archives and he sewed it into his coat. And they strip searched him afterwards and they didn't find it. But he was able to bring these little clues back to my father about his biological mother. That's just a nutshell. That's something I'm writing down. But that's a nutshell of this story of finding my father's mother.
And so meaningful for your dad to have a picture of his mom, you know?
Oh, very much so. Very much so. Yeah, that's just a nutshell.
Wow. That was actually a question I was thinking of asking you, was if you're interested in genealogy. So it sounds like you're
yeah. My father's side is more of the mystery. My mother's side is very detailed. There was actually the Santa Cruz side of the family, Holy Cross, and there was a part of the family that was still in Spain, and they were trying to figure out where the genealogy went, and they found us in Chicago. So my family goes from Chicago in the 50s to Colombia. From Colombia, they were in Colombia since the 1500s. They were one of my ancestors was the governor of Colombia. I mean, he owned so much land that you could walk from one end to the other, and the climate would change. My mother grew up in the last vestiges of the hacienda, and she had servants at a young age. I remember they said when she came here, she didn't even know how to cook an egg. And so with my dad growing up in the restaurant business and my mother a trained oil painter, she ended up taking cuisine and just making it into an art. So we had, Spanish cuisine, Greek cuisine at home, Middle Eastern, and mixing matching flavors. And then, so 1500s and then 1400s, they were in Spain and became nobility. And in the 1300s, they had converted to Christianity. So, my family was, around when the Ottomans conquered Spain. So it must be where I get my hair and my look. And they were Jewish before then. They track them through the Mediterranean. So there's names in the family that are that are Archimedes and Romelia, Greek names, and they all go all the way back to the Middle East. So yeah, my family it's a rich history. That's why you get into authentic casting and nowadays, and they want authentic people playing the role. It's like, who's authentic? We're everywhere. You know?
Yeah, I grew up in Detroit area, and there's lots of Greek restaurants and Middle Eastern. I'm half Lebanese, so I grew up with all that food too. So I have a
number of friends out in Detroit. We visited a church recently over there, Saint Irini Kristovalandu, which is what my daughter is named after, as well as my dad's biological mother, little Irini, our daughter. She's 2. And then our son Maximus, who I just put to sleep, I put down for sleeping, is 1 and not giving us much sleep. So we're going through a little sleep regression. So my wife and I haven't slept I don't think, you have kids, you're never going to sleep again, right?
I haven't slept for 2 years.
Pretty much. And on top of it, I'm rehearsing at night right now. So when because I'm doing the show, a remount of the show I'm doing, Nicodemus.
Next Saturday, right?
Next Saturday, we open.
Nice.
I had to rememorize the lines, and they were still up there.
What role are you playing?
I'm playing the Apostle John in it.
Oh, how very generous of you. Any other virtues you'd like to lord over me? But
I'm also, there's also 2 other roles that are a surprise as well. So I'm playing multiple characters. And so I have to switch on a dime in the show. So I'm not off stage much.
Oh, nice.
It's a beautiful modern adaptation of the show, has a lot of comments on our society today. And it was really well received when we did it last year. And I'm excited about people coming to see it again, now that we're doing it sort of in the Lion's Den in Chicago. And I'm excited to get it back up on its feet. And at least this year, I won't be flying back and forth on the weekends to do the show while I'm filming the shows in Texas. So I don't have that stress.
Will you be in season 4?
Hi, just dropping in from the future to confirm that was in fact the case.
Your brother will rise again, back in the land of the living, brother.
Yeah.
Okay, just not while you're.
Well, I can say that since Dallas has already said, "Oh, you're going to see plenty of Mary, Martha, and Lazarus." So yeah, we should be making an appearance here or there.
Both you saying that about flying back and forth. So you'll start in Texas after Nicodemus is finished. So you won't be playing both halves. Yeah. It sounds like.
Yeah, I won't have to be doing double duty.
Yeah.
And dealing with that stress.
Hey, Noah Glenn Bennett here, founder of Against the Tide Media, and I come bearing a message. Our channel is your channel, so if you enjoy these videos, please subscribe if you haven't already. Like this video. You'd be surprised by how much leaving a simple comment helps boost YouTube's algorithms and puts our channel in front of so many more people. I actually made a video like this a while back, and apparently it helped. A lot. The team and I are working harder than ever to create content with the cast and crew of your favorite light-inspiring movies and shows. And surprise! Now we're making our own. Enter Anti, a story that dares to ask if even the man who could be used as the Antichrist has a chance for redemption. You can learn more about how to support that project at antiseries.com. Thank you so much. On with the show.
We may have talked a little bit about your background already, but maybe give us a little more information about your where you grew up and some more information about your family.
Yeah, sure. I grew up in the northwest suburbs of Chicago. To two amazing parents that kept us in the faith, and I grew up in a religious household, and I have a brother, Nicholas, and we were all pretty much in the arts. My parents also own various businesses. I talked about this earlier with you guys before the interview. They had a restaurant out in Crystal Lake, and it was a little fast food joint that I grew up working in. And then they got out of the business, and my brother is a trained classical pianist. Really gifted. And then I guess it goes into acting. I kind of grew up actually playing baseball, and that's where I saw my life going. And so I was very serious about that. My uncle was an amazing baseball player. He was going to AAA, but then had decided to go to Europe, and he just didn't go that route, but he trained me. And then I just caught the theater bug. And I was doing shows in elementary school, and the first time that I really started really kind of getting serious about it was, can you get serious in 7th grade? I don't know. But I was up for Wizard of Oz, and I wanted to play the lion. And I didn't get it. This one gal, Veronica, she got it. I think that was her name. And she got it, and I was like, okay, well, that's done. That's fine. Well, I got a call on the PA system, and they said, Demetrios Troy, come to the music wing. And I'm like, okay, well, what do I do? I'm going to get detention for something. Okay, what's going on? So I go over there, and I go to the music wing, and I forget the name of the music teacher at that time, but she had said that the student that was playing the lion backed out, and they were going to be performing in 2 weeks. And she's like, can you play the lion for us? And I was all calm about it. And I said, yeah, sure, I'll do that. Okay. So I left all excited, and I ran down the hallway, and I was slamming all the lockers on the way down, and I got detention. And, I still played baseball, and I did theater into high school. And then it was, either play varsity ball or play Nathan Detroit in Guys and Dolls. And I played Nathan Detroit in Guys and Dolls and had a blast. It was my first musical. And no, I don't sing much now. And I do sing, but I don't know. Musicals are not my thing. And I remember my fellow baseball, colleagues, they didn't like it. They didn't like that I did that. But then they came to see the show, and they came up to me and they were like, "Okay, we get it.
Mm-hmm.
We get it. We understand." And that was it. That started me off on show after show for the rest of my life. Yeah.
Wow.
Demetrios, I read that online about the Wizard of Oz, and it looked like it was from your writing, your perspective. And I'm like, dude, this guy's a writer. So before I knew you were a writer, I knew you were a writer because I read what you just talked about. And then I saw on your IMDb that you're a writer. But I'm like, he has command of the English language. It was really well written. And even how after you found out, you like hit the lockers on the way back to class, just in that story. So it was good. So bring us up to speed now, just a little bit about your wife, your kids, and then we'll look forward to the next stage.
Yeah, sure. Well, after years of relationships that didn't work out, and I was after a year of a breakup, and I was traveling around doing Shakespeare festivals, and I came back and I went to a wedding of a friend of ours from church, and I saw my wife Sophia. Sophia across the way, and I'd seen her in church often. I'm a chanter at church, and right now I'm not chanting because I'm holding my son, and I want my kids to know how to behave in church, and know how to know the icons and venerate the icons, and mainly just how to behave and in church. And so I decided, and I'd seen her so many times, and I decided, you know what, I need to go and talk to her. So I went up to her and I spoke to her, and we had a great conversation. And then we were in the middle of a Greek goodbye. And so it's like you're saying goodbye forever before you leave. And we didn't finish our conversation. And so I asked her, like, could we, I'd love to continue our conversation. And she's like, yeah, I'd love that too. So the next weekend, I wasn't in church. She was. And the next weekend after that, I was in church. She wasn't. And, because, we had some business trips and everything like that. And then 4 weeks later, finally, we were in church together again. And I said, I need to get your number. And so I got her number, and we were supposed to have coffee, and it ended up being dinner. And I remember I was on my agents were texting me and about gigs and everything. And I'm with this wonderful woman at this restaurant, and I handed her my phone, and I said, I want you to take my phone, put it on the other side. And I heard this voice inside of me that said, this is your wife.
Wow, that's so great.
I thought I knew it.
Wow.
And later on, we discovered that she felt the same way. And when they tell you, you know.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
It's true. It is true. And the feeling I felt was calm. I felt calm. I felt more of myself than I've ever felt with anybody. And so the Lord really blessed me. And, some of the best advice I ever got in my life was pray for your future wife and children.
Mm-hmm.
And I always took that seriously. Mm-hmm. And the Lord was merciful. And not only is mercy shown in the person that, he brought me to, he gave us two beautiful children as well. And so now we have our COVID babies, one and two.
Oh, yeah.
So our hands are full. And but it's a blessing. I love being a dad. I love being a dad. It's the best job.
Yeah. That's great.
What a beautiful story. Marcus and we knew on our first date as well. So yeah.
Did you feel that calm?
We just knew. We just clearly knew. In fact, on our first date, he just said, will you marry me someday? It wasn't like, will you marry me? But just, will you marry me someday? That's how confident he felt. And I went back home to my best friend and I said, I met this guy. I'm going to marry him and move to Columbus. And so, yeah, when you know, you know.
It's beautiful.
It is cool.
I remember my wife and I were, before I knew she was going to be, before we decided, we were at a dinner and we were talking about where would we want to live and, kids and all these things. And I'm like, wait. Will you marry me? I mean, I asked formally later, but it was just sort of like thing like, wait a second. I think we're talking about what we're talking about here. We definitely had our trials and tribulations, but it brought us closer together.
Yeah, I met my husband in a laundromat, and I still dated him for 5 years and before we married. But I knew right away.
Was he doing his laundry?
Yeah, it was at college. It was
okay.
The first week of college, and married 5 years later. But yeah, so that was. Yeah, but when you know, like you said.
Exactly.
Well, tell us about how you and Dallas met.
It was. I mean, not anything extravagant or really special. I guess it was an audition, and my agent ended up connecting me for the audition, and I got to meet him. And then he cast me as the Apostle John in one of the vignettes, and that's where I met Jonathan. Mm-hmm. And it was a really wonderful experience to be a part of that. That's where I got the first taste of blending my craft with my faith,
mm-hmm.
which is, the combination I love the most. Right. And the Lord has definitely blessed me in these past couple of years with projects that have connected both of those things together. So that was the first time I met Dallas, and then he cast me again as Adam and another bunch of vignettes that he was working on.
The first death was our innocence. No one buried us alive. No. We dug our own grave.
And then after that, we kind of lost touch. Things were happening in my end, especially with my wife and I's situation. And so there's about 3 years that we didn't hear from each other. And then when the pandemic, the lockdowns, hit and all that crazy stuff, he had posted something about he's excited and looking forward to seeing what new art is going to be in response to everything that's going on in our society. And I completely agreed with that. I started my company. I was, working on my writing. And so I just messaged him and I said, I saw that post that you put and I completely agree. This is what I'm doing. If you got something going on, keep me in mind. I'd love to reconnect. And he said, well, funny you should say that because I'm dropping casting for season 2 of The Chosen. And I'm like, The Chosen? What is this? I had no idea about The Chosen. And so I did my research, fell in love with the first episode with Mary Magdalene. Mm-hmm. I mean, just powerful work. And so I had a couple auditions, but I could tell that Dallas had something else in mind, as usually does. And I had found out later from one of the writers on the show, and I was told it, so I guess it's true that he had me in mind for Lazarus for a while. Mm-hmm. But you'll have to ask the man. And so, he called me up and was just like, I want you to play Lazarus. And I'm thinking, wait, Lazarus? The Lazarus? Not Lazarus, like, a guy named Lazarus who's a waiter at the wedding at Cana, Lazarus, or this is the actual Lazarus? Yeah.
Wow.
Thinking, Jesus' best friend.
Yeah.
All right. Now that's a challenge. And the reason why I say it's a challenge, and because I guess I don't really think of Lazarus before the resurrection. Mm. I'm thinking of, and this is going to be the acting challenge coming up, is, eventually come up in the season. We have to go there. Is who is Lazarus after the resurrection? Mm-hmm. What is the difference in the man before and after? which I'm really excited to explore. And there's nothing really written about that, very little written about that. But what did he see? What did he see in those 4 days? And how has that affected his life? You know, and in that moment, he knows more than anybody. You know, he knows more than the apostles at that point about who Jesus is.
You've been to the grave, and you're afraid.
For you. I love you. I do not want to see you suffer.
The prophet Isaiah gave you many warnings.
Yes. He was despised and rejected by men. A man of sorrows, acquainted
with grief.
They were just words on a scroll. Now that they are about you, it's another story.
A story nearing its end.
So I'm really excited to explore that.
Yeah, that is going to be.
It will be a challenge.
I just noticed something recently that I hadn't noticed before. Was in reading the Gospels that the Pharisees, or the I guess the Pharisees, tried to kill Lazarus because
they wanted him dead.
They wanted him dead. I never
because he was the example of. I mean, he was the proof of who Christ is. You know, that miracle that really brought a lot of people to it.
What about the issue of the man from Bethany? The one they say was raised from the dead.
I received assurance from the high priest the claims are being investigated. According to Caiaphas, who's not given to overstatement. If the raising of Lazarus is confirmed, the masses of people will rise behind him, and you'll be looking at an insurrection on the scale of the Maccabees.
If you want to delegitimize Jesus by proving that Lazarus is still dead, then make sure Lazarus is still dead.
He means kill us.
I know what he means.
And you know, when you and Jesus on screen played best buds, it was just so realistic. So how much of that was acting? How much it was like, we're just best bud, this works? But I just love how
that guy, all acting, all acting. So it was, you know, it's something that a lot of the crew, you know, had come up to me. I'm sure with Jonathan as well, separately, and we're just saying it was like watching two brothers on set. I mean, Jonathan's a really easy guy to get along with. And, you know, we had stayed connected over the years. You know, we had a couple of years where, life happens, but we have that kind of friendship where we can pick up wherever we left off. And we were able to do that and have fun and just play.
Here we play. Catch. Finally.
You have your craft, so sometimes you're not always going to get along with people on set, and you have to fight through that and get the job done. But when you're with somebody that you're friends with and you connect with, it's just easy. You just play, have fun. I felt the same way about meeting my sisters, with Sophie and Catherine. Mm-hmm. We connected immediately and really became a family. And we text each other now. And we've been ever since we've been on set with each other, we text each other and stay connected. And so it's even with some of the other cast members that were there that are not in, I don't know if they're going to make another appearance in the show, but everybody's really stayed connected. It's been lovely. It's a great family to be a part of, great community to be a part of. I'm blown away by this community. how lovely they are and how supportive and faithful they are. Mm-hmm. So it's absolute blessing. Happy birthday, dear Dallas. Happy birthday to you. You know, that scene was golden, partly how it was written, right? Jesus refers to you as Laz. I love that. You know, just your arm around him. It was like brothers. It was, you were just lost in what was happening, and it wasn't two actors. It was two best buds. And it helped me put new life to scripture, right? You know, that Lazarus and Jesus were best buds. So such a great scene.
You are something, you know that? I know. You're still causing trouble with Rabbi, and I'm still getting blamed. You love seeing him annoyed as much as I do. Come on, let's get in a quick game. We have to. Yes, we have to.
Yeah, it definitely builds up to, you know, Jesus weeping.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
And, you know, his connection, his humanity.
Yeah. And that's one thing that that used to be like a trivia question. John 11:35 was the shortest verse, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
But now I get all the more about what John 11:35 really means. And I have an undergraduate degree in biblical studies. One of my undergraduate degrees is in biblical studies, but already the relationship of you and Jesus, and then what we saw in the messengers and how you're looking after Mary. Now I get John 11:35 to my core and not just trivia shortest verse.
Yeah, the synagogue scene. You know, I mean, all the playfulness of the scenes before the synagogue are beautiful. They set the tone. You know, they give that pass, the connection that both of them have. But that synagogue scene, and you know, I had mentioned this in, I think, the interview I did for the interview for episode 3 on the Chosen app. And the thing that really stood out for me in that scene was his choice to be there for his friend, you know, to take whatever consequences that might be thrown at him. He chooses Christ without knowing. He may have, like, he has this idea that, and the rumors about him being the Messiah, but he inadvertently, chooses Christ in that moment. He chooses his friend. It's such a beautiful testament to their friendship and their love for one another. Yeah. And on top of that, and I mentioned this before, and I got to mention it again, is that he obeys him. You know, he is given orders by his friend, and he obeys him.
Rabbi Benjamin, I beg of you, not this. Lazarus, it's fine. Jesus, they're going to... Yes.
Jesus!
I'm here, Ima. Thank you.
Without questioning, too.
Without question. Without question.
In that same scene, Jesus comes over and whispers in your ear. Later, we figure out that probably he's saying, look after my mom and meet me at the tomb. Right?
Mm-hmm. And what to get.
And so in that scene, does he whisper to you? Are you able to say what he did whisper to you? But we, you know.
I know you're all dying to know.
Have you been asked that question before?
I'm going to say this. You know, on set, one of the beautiful things on set is that we all take care of each other, especially in those dramatic scenes. You know, when you see Jonathan and Vanessa working together before they start the scene, they have this beautiful connection that they and I don't want to tell too much because it's not for me to tell, but they have this beautiful connection on set that prepares them for those moments. And all of us have that mutual respect for those moments. Mm-hmm. And whatever Jonathan did say to me, it was appropriate and truthful to the moment. Mm-hmm. What he said, I think it's better to leave it for the fans to run their imaginations. Yeah. There's nothing better than your imagination.
I like that.
I was just going to say, but it's regardless of what his real words were, how neat that as his best friend, he's like, look after my mom. And, it's not like he could say, I'll text you where to meet you at or meet me at, meet me later at this, No,
I understand.
And I was rewatching that. We won't press it any farther. I was rewatching it again, and some of the lines, like when you guys were playing the game.
That didn't take long.
That's 3. Okay, that's fine. It's just was there and then it. Anyway, shaking the dust off. It's been a few years.
It shows.
We're fine. I'm fine. You're fine. Everyone's fine. Okay.
They were great lines, and wondered if some of them were ad libs or if they were all in, like the like when you said, "Let's play" or "Here we play." I mean, obviously that's a Dallas thing, right?
Here we play. All right, here we play.
Oh no, that was yeah. Dallas put that in there.
Oh yeah,
that wasn't me. That wasn't me. I'm pretty sure that was Dallas putting those words into my mouth.
Yeah, that was a definite Easter egg right there. The here.
Right. Playing the Trigon game, that was a lot of fun. Especially when you're prepared, you're ready to film, your lines, you're connected with the people that you're working with. You end up forgetting that, you're really filming. You trust that you have your craft and you know what you're doing. And then there's the trust that, Dallas and the cinematographer and the technicians, they're there for you and they're there to help you and support you. And if they didn't get what they wanted, they're going to tell you what they want to get, and they're going to get it. So it's beautiful to have that trust when you're working, and that they're going to grab. And all we have to do is be in the moment, connect to our partners, and tell the truth. Look them in the eye and tell the truth, as James Cagney would say. But yeah, there was a lot of improv going on. Some of it didn't make it. One of mine made it, definitely, and that's when I grabbed his backpack and I said, "You're home, sir."
You're home, sir.
Oh, that's low.
Yeah.
And I broke Jonathan in that moment.
That was awesome.
When you see that picture of him laughing, I think that had to be the first time that I did it.
That was such a great line.
Yeah.
I can't remember what was his exact response. I can't remember. There was something.
I think he eventually said that's low, but his first reaction was just he was laughing really hard, and he told Alice, "You got to keep that. You've got to keep that."
That's so good.
There were little things here and there, in the filming that they capped that. Dallas is very generous with allowing you to bring yourself to it. I mean, that's when things become real. When you can bring your personality to it and sort of fill in all the gaps of the character, that's when you're really starting to get a real truthful portrayal. And he gives us that freedom. I mean, he also comes in and he'll give us a direction. If we're straying off in a way that he doesn't want to go. Like, for example, he didn't want me to push Jesus at the end of that shot after the Trigon game, and that was the first shot, and I did it. He's like, "Okay, you know what? Don't push him this time." But then he ended up keeping me pushing him.
Mm-hmm.
So there's that the generosity of allowing us to play and finding it. This is what makes it so much fun.
Yeah. Yeah. Is that when Jesus said, "Okay, I guess we're going this way"?
Yes.
Yeah.
Well, the other thing is we were being guided in front of us because we had the cameras, we had crew in front of us. There was this tree, and that was also the tree that had this snake earlier that one of the actors was sitting there, and there was this poisonous snake that was, I don't know if it was a cottonmouth or it was some kind of poisonous snake that one of the tech handlers just grabbed it and walked it to the forest and tossed it over there. And so they were guiding us. And I think that might have been his natural reaction to us being guided past the camera, because there was not much room for us.
No, it also fits in with Jesus not knowing directions very well.
Yeah.
Have you heard that story? Yeah, about him. He could heal people, but he doesn't know directions.
Yeah.
We said that in the southern quarter. No, we said the north. But do we have to go back to? I could have sworn I said that. Are you sure? I don't know.
So he's one of those people that are just like my wife will be like, yeah, I'm gonna go over to the Jewel. I'm like, no, it's that way. When you're in the house and somebody points in a direction that the place is not in.
That would be Jesus. Yeah.
Okay. That's great. Oh, there was one more line. Where Jesus reacts to where you say being a rabbi with not much education or something like that, and he has a great facial reaction to that.
All those little nuances and everything like that. That's us playing.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And there was a lot more stuff that ended up being, things get, on the cutting room floor, as they say.
Yeah.
But there was a lot. I'm sorry?
There were some great bloopers from that too.
I know.
Blooper scene.
I know. They kept mine. I can't help myself.
Moving to the messengers. I love to see that Lazarus as who's caring for Mary. Mm-hmm. And so that was filmed before season 3. So you already knowing forward what part of Lazarus' story is going to be in The Chosen. Did that impact how you prepared for season 3?
No, not at all. The Lazarus is the messenger is about 15 years after the resurrection. So, it comes to that question of who Lazarus is after his resurrection. And, there are other traditions that, Lazarus never smiled only once. And it was something like he saw this person steal something, and something to the fact like the dust, the dust steals the dust or something like that. I'm not quoting it correctly. But Dallas, wanted a Lazarus that, still had his humor. Mm-hmm. But I wanted to combine that with the soberness of what he possibly might have seen.
Yes.
So there is that balance of, you're holding your humor. And something that helped me in the messengers was, I've spent a lot of time with monks, and I've lived with Orthodox monks, and there was you can see the asceticism in their eyes. They're on a different plane. They're seeing something that we are not. They're seeing the truth. They are on the front lines, the true front lines in the spiritual warfare in our society. There's just something about those kind of eyes, and I want to bring that into the portrayal of Lazarus after his resurrection. Mm-hmm. But I have to find that balance of also not losing his humor and his humanity, but combining it with that almost monastic feel to it, as I'm constructing the character in my brain right now.
Yeah.
But no, it didn't affect the portrayal in season 3. Season 3 is the jovial all Judean Trigon champion Lazarus.
That's great.
The mischievous Lazarus. Very much a Puck to Jonathan's Oberon, if you can say.
Yeah. Did you already know that you were going to be Lazarus in The Chosen before you did The Messengers?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. Yeah. It was. I knew I was going to be Lazarus. I didn't know what the portrayal of Lazarus was going to be in The Messengers until I got the script and was talking to Dallas about it. And so we're just talking about, he really wanted me to make sure that that, the difference between the Lazarus, the Lazarus of season 3 as opposed to the Lazarus in the Messengers. So, we had discussions about that. And just.
I remember doing a little bit of a gasp in the Messengers when he said, "I'm Lazarus."
Yeah.
Tychicus, Lazarus.
And it's amazing. It's like, I think you're one of only so many people that saw it. I keep on people make mention. Wait a second. Lazarus appears earlier. What?
Oh, yeah.
So a lot of people didn't know that Lazarus appeared in the Messengers.
Kind of went over their heads.
Yeah, and when you think about your mom, we love our moms, and we want only the best of care for them. And it's Lazarus who cares for her. So it's beautiful, really beautiful.
Yeah, and yeah, there is it is a beautiful thing.
Yeah.
That friendship, that trust, that he would want me to care for his mother.
Mm-hmm. So will the viewer find out what Lazarus's business is that he has in Bethany?
Well, I'm not going to say that, but I will tell you what I've been thinking.
Okay, yeah.
In some of my research about Bethany, Bethany right now is really, it's more of a neighborhood. There's not much of the ancient, I guess, industry that used to be there. And from what I remember from my research, it was really known for figs. And so I'd like to think that Lazarus has some orchards, maybe some wine presses. He's a guy that has got irons in the fire. All right. He's got deals are being made. He's making connections, connecting people, and, getting a little piece of that as well.
Mm-hmm.
I think this Lazarus is definitely, like what he says in season 3, I know everyone and I hear everything.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah, I think, Lazarus is definitely into a lot of pies.
Yeah, and you were the big thing that came out of Nazareth before Jesus, right?
Exactly.
Yep. So
exactly.
Everyone is talking about Nazareth's big success story. And it's not me anymore.
Yeah, I'm pretty curious myself. Not that I know anything.
No, of course not.
Meanwhile, how's your vineyard holding up?
It's been especially dry as of late, but we're managing.
The golden age of construction in the Holy City has ended with the death of Lazarus. Truly, there was no greater ironsmith in all of the land.
So with that in mind, what is your favorite chosen Bible story that they've done so far, or one that surprised you?
So, okay. So and I want to make sure I understand this question correctly. So it's basically a biblical story that the chosen has portrayed.
Right.
Is that what you're saying?
Yep.
Yeah. Okay. I have to say that the story of Jairus, is it Jairus? Jairus?
I'm Jairus.
The raising of his daughter
Yes.
has been my favorite.
Mm-hmm.
And now there are a lot of beautiful moments in the show. And I really have to, the actor who plays Jairus, I thought gave such an honest and beautiful portrayal of that character.
Mm-hmm.
And that captured me, the simplicity of it. He really let you in and really shared himself in such a beautiful, simple way. That has to be my favorite.
I know you.
Do you?
Please. My daughter is dying. But come and lay your hands on her, and she will live.
You've never met me, yet you have this much faith that I can heal your daughter.
I know you.
And plus, being a father, that connection I get, maybe that's part of the connection, is being a father and knowing that your daughter is sick.
Mm-hmm.
And when he says, "I know you," that killed me.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm going to say that before I start getting more emotional.
Yeah. And the fact that they were on their way for Jesus to heal his daughter when someone, right, touched Jesus's robe, and he just is standing there patient. I would have been like, "Jesus, can you come and heal my daughter?" And all that. Like, he must have just been, he wanted this person to also get healed, but he was feeling the pressure of getting Jesus to his own daughter. Just that whole.
Well, his faith, it's a testament to the faith of that character, or at least how the faith of that character is portrayed. Because he says, "I know you." Yeah, it's because he says that. I know you. I know that. That's all. He had the faith.
Mm-hmm.
He knew he was coming, and so he didn't have to rush him. I mean, I'm sure as a father, I mean, you'd be a little bit, nervous and anxious. I mean, that's human. But it beautifully portrayed. That's been my favorite.
That's great.
And I'm sure there's other favorites too, and I've just forgotten them. And I'm going to look over the season again. I'm going to be like, "Oh, I love that part too." like Mary Magdalene, when Mary Magdalene follows in the first episode and follows the dove from the cliffs. And when Jonathan puts his hand, on her hand at the bar, if I'm remembering correctly, I mean, powerful, absolutely powerful.
I went back and watched some of those vignettes from Vertical Church, what that Dallas had done. And I don't know if it was in was it Calvary that you were in with?
There was a couple things. There was one where I'm with Joseph Arimathea, and we're transporting the body to the tomb. There's another scene where we're at the crucifixion.
Right.
And then there's another scene where the tomb is closing, and I'm holding Mother Mary, the actress who played Mother Mary in that vignette. And then there's another one that Jonathan as Jesus is healing the blind man.
Oh, I haven't seen that one.
Yeah, there's a short one where I'm introducing him. I'm bringing Christ to the blind man, and then they do the healing of the sight.
Okay.
Yeah, it's really beautiful.
But there was one where it's the Sunday morning, and there's a scene with Mary Magdalene who is turning away, and then she sees Jesus, and he says her name.
Mary.
And she drops a bottle of perfume, and it smashes on the ground, which is a direct correlation to when he calls her name in episode 1, and she drops the cup. And I thought that was perfect Dallasness of connecting those two. So I hope he does that again in The Chosen.
Dallasness. I think it is in the Merriam-Webster's dictionary.
Dallasness.
That's great.
Dallasness. They should do that. They should have a Chosen dictionary.
There we go.
Yeah.
I want credit.
We'll start that. You could be the writer.
So
so much to do.
Oh yeah, speaking of writer, we got to talk about that. So earlier I said, I knew you were a writer before you were a writer because I've read some of your stuff. Tell us about that. And you did mention that you were maybe writing some family history. So it sounds like you were writing and
I do. I mean, those projects are too long to get into because they're very big projects.
Okay.
But I can tell you, I can tell you some of the stuff that I'm working on and what I'm involved in right now, if you like.
Perfect.
As far as writing, I'm really into historical fiction. And so I have a number of pieces that that have been in the works for a couple of years. It's like being a writer and also being a working actor and being split in so many different directions. There have been other opportunities that have had to draw my focus. So my writing, I rather, instead of saying writer, I'm writing. I should always be writing. And so I have a couple of different partners as well in collaboration and building stories. Some faith-based, some secular, especially the historical ones. And right now, I'm in a remount of a show, Nicodemus, and which is at the Athenaeum Theater. So rehearsals at night and tech next week, and then we open on the 15th, and we run till May 15th. And that is a story of from John. I play the Apostle John in it, and it's a modern adaptation. Really beautiful. Really talks about brings a lot of today into it and comments on society. I think anybody of the faith or even not of the faith would really, really enjoy that. The other thing I do is I'm a sound engineer and Foley artist for the radio program Unshackled.
Yes.
And Unshackled, it's one of the longest running radio programs. And right before the lockdown happened, the director and writer of Nicodemus is the director of Unshackled. Really close friends, and he had asked me to be the Foley artist and sound effects engineer right before lockdown happened. So it's been a blessing to have that. While there was a hiatus with performances, and to have that as something that's been solid and part of my career has been a real blessing. But Unshackled takes real stories of people who have gone through addiction or family strife, all these things, and they find Christ. And so they're all real stories. They're all researched. And they also keep tabs on the people as well. And so we bring that every Saturday. We do a live performance. We also do a recording. And then all those recordings you can check out on unshackled.org, which is it's a fantastic resource. And then the other project that I'm doing as well, I've been connected just recently. I got in a new agent, which has been a blessing. I had lost my agent, had dropped me about 7 weeks ago. They said my career was not having any traction.
Could you get up there?
That's your fault, bro. It's your fault.
Needless to say that they had no respect for the chosen. I tried to let them know that, this is they would often call the stuff that I did the Jesus thing. I'm not gonna fault them. I wish them the best and everything like that. Everybody has their reasons, and well, whatever. I've found a really amazing agent. Actually, the actress who plays Mary, my sister, I felt compelled to tell her about it, and she connected me with her agent, and it felt so wonderful to be able to speak to an agent openly about my faith and about my life. And so she represents me now. That's Treasure Coast Talent.
Yeah.
And the other right after that is the Lord's Mercy and Blessings. And because I definitely in that past couple of weeks have felt, the fiery darts being thrown at me. And I prayed for mercy, and he gave me his mercy.
Some great projects that I think people will really connect with, especially the chosen fans, and they tell their people, and they tell their people, and yeah.
It's what people are craving. Yeah. We have spoken. The people spoke. Look at Jesus Revolution. Look at the success that's having.
That's how to do it right there. Kelsey Grammer, everybody. Jesus Revolution hits theaters February 24th.
Look at the success that the chosen people are craving this material.
Yeah.
They're craving it in here. Their society's filling this God hole in their chest with whatever they're filling it with. But this is what they want. And they may not even know it, but it's an amazing. We want to say we've become the counterculture. We've become the revolution again.
Yeah, for sure. That's great. Are you excited coming up that you'll be working with more of the chosen cast, the more of the regulars Well,
I mean, I think the question really is, are they excited to be working with Lazarus?
I bet they are.
No, I got to meet a number of the cast. We were doing some photo shoots. A lot of those pictures not even out. We had all these amazing photo shoots, and I got to meet a lot. I got to meet most of everybody, and everybody was just lovely. I mean, we did it when I had to go and do an interview. I had dinner with a bunch of them. We had sushi.
Yeah.
We got to talk. Yeah, I love sushi.
Yep.
And we got to talking and connecting, and we're also on. There's some chat app that people are asking questions. It's for like cast and crew to be like, hey, what's going on? Or can I have what's the discount code? And so I'm excited. I'm excited. Dallas has put together such a wonderful group of people. I haven't met anybody that I'm like, I don't want to hang out with them. Everybody's really been wonderful.
And there's an incredible fan base because of that. So what do you think about the fan base of The Chosen? And I guess to partner with that, are you going to will we see you at the Chosen Con? Will we see it?
Con? When you found out about it is when I found out about it. The fans, the beautiful fans, like the faithful fans, the prayerful fans. Like I said before, it's such a blessing to be part of this community. I feel so welcome. I feel so connected with all of you. And I like to pop up on the fan sites and make a comment here and there. Laz poking his head out. It's such a great community. It's such a welcoming community. So I remember having a discussion with Liz, who plays Mary Magdalene, and she had told me, it's like, you liked your anonymity? And it's gone now. People have connected me all around the world and really showing their love and support. So it's been a blessing. And I think there's a second part of the question. Chosen Con.
Oh, Chosen Con, yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know. I haven't got an invitation. I don't know. I'm mixed about it. It's partly strange. I would never think of like Chosen Con. It's like
we've been clamoring for it for a couple of years now.
I mean, it'll be awesome and a blessing to see everybody get together and being able to connect and share our faith and our stories. So, I guess when I think of like cons, like Comic-Con, I'm thinking about people dressing up as characters. So I don't know. I don't know.
There might be all the Sermon on the Mount people and the feeding of the 5,000 people. We all have our own costumes now, so we may show up in costume.
There you go. So I mean, I think it would be fun.
And it was sold out in a minute. So people.
I know. I have some Dawn. You guys know Dawn Flat. Yeah, she's Dawn Flaherty. Yeah, she's a great friend of mine. We've really connected, and so she kept me updated that everything was sold out. But she doesn't need a VIP to hang out with me.
I think we'll all hang out sometime. Just being in the Midwest.
Absolutely, I think that'd be great. Come out and see my show.
I'm still trying to figure out how to do that. I'm in and out of town quite a bit in the next month, so I'm trying to figure out how to get up there. We're only 3.5 hours away.
Oh, that's nothing.
No.
Yeah. And I wonder at another theatrical release, you and Don and us, and we both do.
Sherry Bowman. Do you know Sherry Bowman? Have you seen her?
Yes, I have.
Yeah. So she's just in Lower Michigan. So she's not very far away either.
And we run fan pages for Indiana and for the Midwest. And so it's going to be a good connector of people and a good connector of fans.
That's wonderful. I'd love to see you all.
That would be awesome.
Yeah. All right. So where were we at?
We were talking about any places that you've gotten recognized in public as Lazarus, or are you getting?
No, I've definitely gotten a lot of like side glances. Definitely, but that may be because I'm just, swarthy looking with this hair. But no, not really. I did. Was it the last 2 episodes? No, I saw okay, when I went to go see the first 2 episodes of season 3 in the theaters. No, yeah, it was the first 2 because I did a little video about people coming to see. And I was waiting out in the hall. There wasn't many people in the showing that I went to. And my wife was using the restroom and I was waiting for her. And this couple came out and I don't know. I don't know what got over me. I just said, hey, thank you so much for supporting us. I'm like, wait, are you Lazarus? That's who you are. And so, yeah, it was cute. But no, other than that, I've been able to sort of like stay underneath the radar, which I'm fine with. I also don't mind if people come up to me and Unshackled people have come up if they've come to see the show and have taken pictures with me.
Oh, that's great. So you're out with the production as the sound. What'd you call that?
Yeah. So for the sound effects, I'll build all the sound effects. So if I'll either record them at home or I'll find them, through the internet and sort of different sound sites. Mm-hmm. And then I have an archive that's on a jump, and then I build the show, and then I send that to them for them to engineer. So I give them different options for the actual engineering of the show. It really cuts down on a lot of time for the engineers. And sound.
Thank you. That was good. There are no cows in this show. Sorry.
And then all the live sound effects, I do live on stage. And then I voice characters as well. I've got a performance again, the second part of a performance this Saturday. So if you guys ever wanted to come up to see, send me a message and say, hey, are you performing this date? It's always on a Saturday. Mm-hmm. Show's always at 3:00. And come and check out really just beautiful stories at Unshackled. Yeah. And then you'll see me on stage voicing characters and doing sounds and stuff like that.
Thank you for that invitation. And when you say that's how Unshackled, that's how people think of Unshackled, is that it's the sound effects live.
Well, it's basically an old radio program.
Yeah. And I remember
seeing all the actors on stage in front of their microphones. We have an organist, me doing the sound live, and then Tim Gregory, our director and the writer of Nicodemus, is out in front and he's announcing the show, but sometimes he plays characters as well. And it's just this whole, little performance, and we only get one shot to do it. So,
I remember seeing it and was just, and this was a long time ago. In fact, my next question in a minute is how long has Unshackled been out? But where they would show that they're doing a recording and there's the sound effects on stage and the creative things that they would use to get the sound effect that they wanted to. And
that's what I do.
Very impressive.
Yeah. Yeah. I think it's been running for over 80 years, I want to say.
Wow. Very cool. Will your wife and kids be able to ever join you on set
in Texas?
I don't know. It really depends on I know my wife would like to bring the kids down. I mean, it's hard to get a 1 and 2 year old on a plane, but I know it's done. I know it's possible.
Yeah.
But I guess, we'll have to decide that when it comes, because she's a pharmaceutical doctor, and so she's very busy. We've had the blessing of her being able to work from home, which makes doing something like this easier. So yeah, if it's possible, yeah, they'll probably end up joining us.
Very cool.
That's great. And you mentioned earlier about other roles on The Chosen that you were looking at. Did you audition? Did you say you auditioned for other roles?
I did. I'm not going to say who.
Oh, you're not gonna. Okay.
I don't want to put it in anybody's head. It's like, what if he was who was this person and that person?
Yeah, I know a lot of them. It seemed like a lot of them auditioned for Simon. They all say that they either auditioned for Simon or like maybe John, or and then they got their various parts. But yeah.
Yeah, I know a lot of stories of different actors who had gone through other audition for other roles.
Mm-hmm.
I definitely read for two other characters, but I know I just had this feeling while I was in my audition, and there's something else going on here,
Mm-hmm.
So I think Dallas definitely had, how he works. He has his vision, and so he definitely had a vision of where I was going to be placed. So
yeah, and often his wife has ideas of who she wants in various roles too. So
that's a testament to their marriage.
Yeah,
it's like
they work very well together.
It's the same. It's like my wife and I. We don't keep anything from each other. We're a unit. We're one flesh.
I can never picture another Lazarus. Casting was spot on. I don't know if Beverly was part of that or who, but couldn't picture another Lazarus.
Oh, well, thank you so much. I appreciate that.
Is your strength coming back?
More and more with every minute.
What about the old aches?
The click in your knee?
Oh, still there.
Wouldn't be you without it.
How are we doing?
He still has the click in his knee.
Yes, we are grateful, but we do have some ideas for next time.
Well, the Father only grants me one miracle per person, so...
Oh, okay.
Well, I think we might transition into a lightning round here in a moment where we'll just kind of ask quick questions and...
prizes involved?
There could be.
Do I have to hit a buzzer?
No.
Is there a buzzer on this?
No, this is just for fun. So, Do you prefer watching plays or musicals? You said you didn't do musicals very much anymore, but do you like watching?
I prefer watching plays. I'm also like kind of the old school musicals, but I prefer watching plays, I would say.
And I know this is lightning round, so we're just going to take a little sidetrack. Beef and Boards and Indie. They have great plays, and it's called Beef and Boards. And it's an indie, so not real far away from you.
It's a dinner theater.
Yeah. And it's nice that you get to enjoy dinner. You watch a play. At intermission, they bring you dessert. So if you ever need a place to bring your wife, Beef and Boards is a neat place.
Oh, hey now. That sounds good. I performed in Indianapolis at Indiana Repertory Theater.
IRT. They're going to do Clue. I think that's the next one coming up. Someone just shouted out to me and said we should go watch the play Clue there at IRT. Cool. Dogs or cats? And along with that, do you have pets? Dog or cat?
I am the only furry thing allowed in the house. So I have to live vicariously through other people's pets.
Yep.
I am sort of, because my wife is afraid of like animals really, and never grew up with them. So for her, all pets are critters and they need to be outside.
Fair enough.
And, but I am sort of like an animal whisperer. Dogs, cats, they all come up to me and they want to interact with me. So I'm very much an animal person. That we'll be out for a walk, and my wife's like, "Why is that dog coming up to you?" Dogs will seek me out. I was walking with my father when it was nice out, and this cat came down this driveway, laid at my feet, purring, and was just wrapping itself around my legs. I don't know what it is about me. It was, I'm fuzzy.
And speaking of fur, do your wife and kids like the beard or with no beard?
You know, I had asked my wife this question a long time ago, and because she's known me when we were married, I was clean shaven. I'm often with a beard, and she's like, it's two different people. You're a chameleon. So I love you with the beard, and of course, and I love you without the beard. And my kids, even though they know me with the beard, my daughter will look at pictures of, like, you know, I'm in my bedroom right now. We'll look at pictures of our wedding and like, oh, Baba. So she recognizes me, but I don't know if it's going to be one of those things where one day I'm going to have to shave and I'm walking out and they start crying, like those funny videos of kids just not recognizing their parent.
Who is that?
Yeah. But right now they just recognize me as this wild man of Borneo. This is tame right now. My hair is like really like this.
Nice.
Massive fro. Now it's got all this natural, nice shea butter product.
You need to throw a picture on social media when it's like this, like you just said.
Oh my, I don't know about that. I feel like anything I throw out now is going to turn into a meme. I feel like I need to be careful.
Right.
Maybe, we'll see.
Do you play any instruments?
I dabble in strings. I self-taught. I took piano lessons early on in life while my brother was studying classic piano.
Right.
And I dabble in guitar, bouzouki, and I bought an electric for the first time because it was a Black Friday deal. So I got the Squire guitar. And so now I'm on this goal. I guess I just like to dabble and fiddle around. Like I learned the Oshawken Farewell on guitar. I've got my violin. I'm going to try to learn it on violin. And then I've just been learning whatever guitar solo I like. Learned Gimme Shelter by the Rolling Stones. And I learned Money for Nothing by Dire Straits. You know, just like all the classic little riffs, you know, just for fun. But I want to do it, so I'm doing it. And I play some classical as well. I'm no virtuoso, but I like to play it in front of my kids so they get that experience. And so my daughter has her own kind of play guitar. And I go, oh, this Baba's guitar. And then she often wants the acoustic guitar. She's like, no, alo in Greek mean, you know, the other. So I dabble for fun.
Very good. And you said earlier that you played baseball. Are there any other sports that you like to play or watch on television?
You know, I stopped really watching sports. You know, just a lot of the politics that's been happening. I haven't been interested. I'd prefer to watch a Little League game over a professional game. I enjoy hockey live. That's exciting. I love baseball. You know, grew up playing baseball. I like going to a game and having my hot dog and, you know, maybe some sort of adult beverage. And but as far as like, if somebody starts talking statistics to me, my brain stops functioning. But I used to collect the old tobacco baseball cards. So I have a number of like old tobacco cards. So I know a lot of baseball players pre 1950.
Oh wow! What do you like to do for fun?
Lots of stuff. I really love hiking. You know, whenever I get a chance to go out and be in the wilderness, just, you know, give me a knife and drop me in the middle of nowhere and I'll be really happy.
Brother, sister, teamwork, dreamwork.
I love gardening. Big avid gardener. I love cooking. And so right now I'm getting ready to build 4 raised beds for my squash. I'm going to trellis my squash this year. So I'm excited about that. And yeah, I love gardening. I love being in the outdoors. That's definitely the place for me. Doing some manual labor outside. Yeah, I love that. Love being with the family. I mean, there's so many different things I'm interested in reading, the occasional video game. So yeah, I guess I'm kind of all over the place.
Good. Good. Do you cook Greek food?
I cook all kinds of food.
Nice.
Yeah, I like mixing and matching flavors. I'm a spice fiend. I have a whole cabinet full of different spices and balsamic vinegars and oils, and give me a recipe. And sometimes, if my wife's like, hey, I'd really like to try this recipe, but I'll find 5 or 6 different recipes, and then I'll mix and match what I want and kind of create my own thing. Yeah, I love cooking. So, and I grew up in a household that it was, my mother really she was an oil painter by trade, and she learned how to cook from my father, and then she just took it to this artistic level. And so we had a mix of Spanish, Greek, Middle Eastern cuisines, and then me venturing out to eat different foods. I brought like Indian flavors and, all kinds of stuff. So I'm definitely a foodie, but I can enjoy a Chicago style hot dog too.
Mm-hmm. Good stuff.
Are you right-handed or left-handed?
I am right-handed. But I'm ambidextrous. Is that the right word, right? Ambidextrous as a baseball player. So I hit right and left.
Okay.
Which often threw people off, pitchers off.
Which is good, right? Good.
Yeah. But yeah, no, I'm right-handed. My father's left-handed. I don't know what my daughter is. She goes back and forth between left and right. And I'm like, oh, okay.
Very good. Developing both sides of that brain.
Exactly. The thing that's really, I train in Filipino martial arts, and that's been the new thing for me for the past 2 years. And so I've been really, really learning how to use my left with, fight stuff. So I train in sword and dagger, open hand, grappling. Yeah, so that's what I've been working.
That's interesting.
Very cool. Are you a morning person or a night owl?
I am a night owl that wakes up in the morning. I know I should not be doing this to myself, but like I'll stay up to 2 or 3 o'clock in the morning and then end up waking up at 6:30, 7:30 for the kids. But I love the early morning. Love that feeling of early morning, that the blue light, the sound of the birds, waking you up. Actually, our neighbors have chickens and a rooster, so it's like we're living on a farm. Rooster in the morning. I love it. It's not too loud where it like wakes you up and disturbs your sleep, but it's loud enough where you feel like you're living on a farm, which I love. I'm a little bit of both.
Favorite movie or TV show? Shows, movies besides?
As far as movies, I'd have to say, Shawshank Redemption is one of my favorites. Lawrence of Arabia. I just recently watched Ben-Hur again, but I just love the portrayal of Christ in Ben-Hur. There's just, there's just this.
I haven't seen that since I was.
There's this simplicity to it. There's this beauty, being able to just see his hands give Ben-Hur water, or Ben-Hur returning that gesture while he's, when he falls from the weight of the cross and giving him water. There's just, there's nothing like your own imagination and your own faith that, puts the Lord into perspective, And then also I'm a Trekkie. And so Star Trek 2 through 4, which is really one movie. It's one of my favorite movies. And, Star Trek: The Next Generation. Here's my nerd really showing. I've watched it from beginning to end and from end to beginning. There's a really interesting way to see character progression, backwards and forwards. I'm sure there's other things that I really enjoy. Right? I can't think of them right now.
Let's go with last question. Are you a romantic or more practical?
I'm a romantic. My wife would. I even asked my wife that question as well. She's like, "Oh, you're romantic." Yeah, I'm the one I'm the guy that's going to bring that has flowers waiting. I'm also I'm a patient romantic, so I'll have ideas months ahead, and I'll get it prepared, but I won't say anything until it's time. My wife would be like, "Did you do this?" So yeah, I'm a romantic.
That lightning round was fun. We had talked pre-interview recording about Romania. So we'll wrap up with this. When we were trying to schedule this interview, Barb and I were in Romania on a missions trip. And when we started this conversation with you before we went live, you had said that you had some contact with Romania. So we were going to circle back around to that. So what's your story about Romania?
Well, one of the things, there's a little Romanian in my heritage. My father's biological mother, escaping the Nazis, escaping the communists, they were going from Russia, Romania, Greece. And I had an uncle, he passed in 2008. He lived in Romania, but the only reason why I ended up going to Romania is I was doing a tour of a show with one of the technical directors at the university grad school that I went to, University of South Carolina. And so he wrote a piece, and we took it to Romania, and we were in Constanța, Sibiu, Bucharest, and just traveling around doing the show for a couple months. Can't remember. Maybe it was shorter than that, but yeah, it was a wonderful experience. And also being able to see the city, the history, seeing Vlad's castle, and
we did not make it.
Also being in Sibiu. When I was in Sibiu was really under construction, and they were doing these beautiful. They're really trying to make it the Eastern arts capital of the world, and I'm not sure if they were what's going on with it now. Did you get to go to Sibiu while you were there?
We were in a couple little villages, kind of southeast of Bucharest.
Maybe 40 minutes from Bucharest.
Okay.
Andula.
Did you go to Ceausescu's palace?
We went outside. There were no tours available that day.
Oh, no? Oh, that was something.
Yeah.
That was something.
And that 2/3 of it is underground.
Yes. And that, for example, what they made those people do as far as building and rebuilding marble staircases for them. But what I found this was unbelievable, was when our tour guide was taking us around, she was like, and this is what the Ceausescus would have enjoyed, but they were assassinated. It was like, oh, okay. It's like very, very unique history. Those people went through a lot.
They sure did. Yeah, very sweet people that are there now. I mean, the people that are very sweet.
I have a very fond memory. There was a Orthodox cathedral that I would go to on my way to rehearsal, right before I went to get some cantaloupe gelato. Unbelievable. But I would walk in there to light a candle, say a few prayers. And I remember the iconography on the walls of all the saints. There was a lot of soot. So it gave it almost made them 3-dimensional in a way. And they're 2-dimensional pictures, but what was amazing, it felt like the saints could walk off the walls. It was so beautiful. It was a very fond memory of being in Sibiu.
That's great.
Thanks so much for hanging out with us today. It's been fun to get to know you and your story better. And we're excited to see you and your character more on The Chosen.
Yeah.
Thank you. Yeah, I'm excited for the journey and where it's going to go. So # more Lazarus, Mary, and Martha.
We'll see.
That's right. That's right.
No pressure, Dallas. You take us all the way.
Yeah.
Yeah. Hopefully we'll get up to Chicago to see you.
I would love that. Let me know. I don't know if you've friended me on Instagram, but send me a message if there's a show you want to come see. Let me know. Let me know when you're able to come, and we'll hang out afterwards.
All right, sounds great.
Thank you.
All right.
Take
care.
All right. Bye-bye.
Bye.
And I'll let you know if there's something that I can't talk about.
Oh, yeah.
Or I think is better not said.
We'll try not to pry too much.
And if we go off the questions for a beat, that may not worry you a whole lot. And if it does, anything that needs to be edited out or...
Oh, yeah, sure. Okay. Yeah, I mean, I ramble sometimes a lot. I'm a monologuer. Oh. So rein me in. My mind is going like a million miles an hour on stuff. So I may be like, what's the question again?
Okay, well, we'll just we'll do a little intro and then we'll just get
started. And who's who?
I'm Tera.
You're Tera.
I'm Barb.
You're Barb.
Okay.
I got my coffee.
Yeah.
Well, let me see that cup.
It's it's a lens.
Hold up. Wait a minute.
Cheers, mate.
Hello. Hello, coffee.
What are we toasting
buddy?
to? What are we toasting to?
Let's toast to a prosperous new year.
New Year.
Cheers, mate.
Oh, that is so cool.
That is very cool.
My wife and I, we don't buy presents for each other on Christmas anymore. So we do crazy stocking stuffers or goofy stuff. And this was my present for Christmas.
That's a good present. She did well. She's a good gift giver. Good giver.
Oh, she's amazing. I'm blessed.
All right, let's go. Are you ready?
Okay. I'm going to clap in case we have.
Oh, 1 second. 1 second. The baby just woke up, so my wife's going to grab him right now. If you hear any noises, it's the kids.
And we can't hear at this point.
Where you grew up and some more information about your family.
Yeah, sure. I grew up in the northwest suburbs of Chicago.
Meanwhile,
it's finally sunny in Chicago, so I'm taking this as a sign.
Sunny in Chicago. We could make maybe a sitcom off that or something.
When you know, like you said.
Exactly.
Well, let's go a little more modern day now. Well, I guess married life is modern day, but modern day meeting of Dallas, which you probably met Dallas before you met your wife?
Yeah, I did actually. I met Dallas before I met my wife.
And you didn't ask him to marry you or anything like that?
No. It's just not my time. Yeah, I've seen that we're getting less than a minute. So
I don't know why that is. It's supposed to be unlimited when you only have two people. So I don't know why. I'm not sure why it's doing that. But if it cuts out, we'll just hop back on.
Okay. You might have to send me another link.
Yeah, it should be the same link.
Yeah? Okay.
Yeah.
Is it worth trying to upgrade? Or just clicking that?
No, okay. Upgrading is you pay for it.
Because he says, I know you when he goes to, was it Simon and Eden's house, right?
Yes. Yeah.
It's Eden, right? Mm-hmm. Yeah. I don't know why my brain is it's lack of sleep.
Lack of sleep.
But right. Babies. That's why. Babies in rehearsal. The fans. The beautiful fans. The faithful fans. The prayerful fans. I see the timer is going again.
That is very strange. I don't know why it's doing that, but if you have a few more minutes, we could come back on.
Yeah. Why don't you do that? I'll be here. I don't have to leave for another hour for downtown.
Yeah, we don't want to keep you too much longer, but
I appreciate it. I have to eat. That's if I don't ramble.
Oh no.
It's been incredible. That is so good. See you in a minute.
All right. Sounds good.
Okay. I'll just I'll make a see.
Okay, you rate season 4. How many stars out of 10?
I want room for improvement, so I'd say 8.5, 9.
Oh, okay.
You know.
Okay. Interesting.
I don't want to score too high.
We don't know. We don't know what it will look like. You know.
People's hopes up.
It's true. It's true. Better under promise, over deliver.
Yeah.
Yes. Happy season 4 closing.
Right.
We did it.
Joy factor.
Woo! Oh, joy factor 12 out of 10. You know, 12.
Yes.
12. 24.
High 12.
Yes, high 12. 12 plus. We're going the wrong way.
There we go.
It's probably better that we didn't already hit record because Noah, who's listening to us right now, he likes blooper reels.
I bet Noah does.
He does. He's brilliant.
He's watching right now.
Well, he'll be watching when we send in the recording.
Yeah, he is absolutely brilliant, isn't he?
He is. Great guy.
Yeah.
Yeah, really great guy.
And to still be.
I feel like I should be saying like terrible stuff about him right now so that when he's editing, that Noah?
Yeah. And this, ladies and gentlemen, is the exact reason why I decided to wait a year to release this interview.
I mean, to be in high school and what he's done.
Yeah, no, it's very impressive.
With Anti and Against the Tide Media and editing, he's genius.
Yes, absolutely. Definitely blessed. Blessed and talented. Don't let that get to your head, okay, Noah?
I'll try.
Fun stuff.
I don't know what it is about me. Because I'm fuzzy.
I had this idea for like a fun little video that we could record. So I would spot you and shout, "Hey, Demetrios!" And then the camera would zoom in on you, very office style. And you'd have this shocked, maybe a little disturbed expression on your face. You'd be like, "Oh no." And then go running into like the hall or something. And then it would go back to me and I'd be like, "It's fine, I know he loves me. You know, I bet he was going to get me my gift. Oh, that reminds me. I've got his right here." And then I reach in my pocket or my bag or something and pull out a chipmunk plushie.
You were ridiculous.